Hello, everyone. My name is Mike, and I will go through the webinar with you. As a start, I would like you to type if you can hear me and see my screen. Thank you. Okay, looks good. Okay, then thanks everyone for joining the webinar today. Today, as the title says, we want to talk about the translation of multilingual Excel files and especially how we can get metadata out of those Excel files and give them to the translator to give them a little bit of context. As a first start, I prepared an Excel file, which you can see here. And it's basically a little dialogue for a game that does not exist that we have an English source text for. Then we also have the Spanish target text that we are going to translate in a bit. And we also have comments that the translator needs to attend to. We have certain text limits that need to adhere to, like a maximum amount of characters that have to be followed. And then we have some information about the speakers, like who's speaking and some context information. When we look at the English text, you see that we don't have any information about who's speaking, if this person is male or female, what age it is, and of course that poses some issues. For instance, if we translate into Spanish, where we need to know what gender we have to use for adjectives. Like in English, it doesn't really matter, but in Spanish, we have to know is someone if someone is tired, to add an O in the end or an A in the end, depending on the gender. And also for other languages, this could pose some difficulties, especially in the Asian region, where sometimes the use of the language depends on the status of the individual people. So of course, especially if you don't have any context, like when translating in an Excel file, it's very important to include this meta information into the file so the translator can know all the relevant details. So I already prepared a project, as you can see here, and you see that all the information that is in the original document can be seen here. So we have the English source text, the Spanish translation that has not been yet done, and we see that there is a comment already present here, which is it's Jamie from chapter 3. And if we go to the timeline in Wordbee Translator, we can see that the comment has been included. And additionally, we can see that there is like a character limitation, like we have 0 characters out of a maximum of 50. If we go to the next segment, you see out of a maximum of 100, which corresponds to the number that has been defined in the Excel file. And in the end, we have like 2 custom fields about who's speaking, which correspond to the columns in our original file. So now we just want to have a quick run through how to set those things up. The first thing we need is those fields. Like we want to be able to add the columns to the CAT editor, and for that we need custom fields. Custom fields can be set up in the settings page in Wordbee. When you look here, you see the custom fields, and you see that they're available for different layers within Wordbee. So for instance, you can set up custom fields that will show up in the project page. So if I go to a project, you can see here that there's a commission field that is not there by default. It's literally like you can adjust the whole interface in this regard to whatever you need. Like you can add commission fees, or also when you look into the custom fields for companies, you can add all kinds of information like Skype IDs, different bank numbers and accounting details, also some information about taxes and all of that. So those can be added, and when you and be used basically for your needs. And this is also what you can do on segment level. Like for every segment in the CAD editor, you can define certain custom fields. So I already prepared a custom field. To add one, you just have to click add, and then the option menu will come out. Or you can also edit existing custom fields, which is the same interface basically. So here you can give your custom field a name. So in this way, I will just call it who's speaking, because this is the name of the custom of the information in the Excel file. And then you can also give a short description for your project manager so they know when to use this custom field. You can also see if the custom field will only apply for translation and project memories, or if they will apply also to terminology databases. So you can here you can also define custom fields for your database. You can also define what type of custom field it is. So you can simply add a text field where you can type any information you want, but you can also have different kinds of pick lists where you have to pick one option, or add your own custom text, or even multiple choice. Yeah. Then you also have the option to add hyperlinks and images, which I will also show later on in the webinar. Then you can also define if it should be searchable in the translation editor or also available in the global search, and if those custom fields will also be shown in the translation finder hits. So whenever you decide that those custom fields are relevant to your future work in the translation memory, you can also consolidate it to your main memory and then make it searchable there for use in future projects. You can also define like who can see and edit the custom field. So I will just go for everyone can edit it. You can attach a custom field to a segment or just a language. That is, either it applies to all the languages at the same time or only to a certain language within the project or like the job, or to both. I will just make it attach it to the segment, and you can also add TBX filed IDs for terminology databases in case you want to import and export those information also between different platforms. So once this has been set up, it can be used to create a filter or like a file parser that we need to define in order to make everything work. So you also can see there's a second field, the context information, which we also have in this column over here. So now for the file parser for the Excel file, we go to the options for the file parsers in the settings page. And here we can basically add a new parser for Excel. We can call it webinar. So then this is basically the name. You can also give a description. So multilingual Excel for dialogues, which will appear for the project managers. So we already decided we want to have a multilingual setup. And now what we have to do is define where the system will grab its information from. So the first language that we want to extract is English. And the second language we want to extract is Spanish. Of course, if you have more languages, you can simply add them here. There's basically no limit in that regard. The next information that is necessary for the system is like where to grab the information from for source and target language. So we see English is an A, Spanish is an B, and we will just type that in. Then we have to see where the comments come from. So we want to have our Spanish translators to have the comments. So they will get it from column C. And then we can define if we want to extract the custom fields. And as we already defined the custom fields with who's speaking for all languages, and also for context information, they show up in this drop-down menu. So all the custom fields you configure will be searchable and trackable here. So then, of course, we also have to say like where the information should come from. So columns E and F. So, and at last, we also have to decide, we have to tell the system what's the first row to translate, because the first one is just full of titles and head titles. So we don't want to have this translated and start with the second row. So the last thing that is missing right now is basically the character limitations that we also want to implement into Wordbee. So this can be found in the last section in the tab QA, where we can just say we want to have the character limitations extracted from a certain column. So we can find the maximum amount of characters in column D. And this applies to our source column, which is A, like the English language. So of course, you have way more options to also customize your multilingual Excel parsers with like excluding different colors or using regular expressions. So those options are still available. I will just limit myself to this very easy example with 2 languages and yeah, the necessary custom fields. So then we just save our parser and can basically create a new project. So let's create a new project. I will just go with a simple standard project here. So we want to translate from English into Spanish. Okay. Then we just simply upload the document or use the drag and drop function. So, and now when we right click and mark the file for online translation, we can actually choose the filter we just built. So this is a O1 webinar live, which I just created. And then we confirm, and it will extract the information just like we set it up in the process. We now go to the editor. We can see that the source text is there, target text is not, but the comment can be found here. We also have the character limitation, and whenever you want to see the custom field, you can simply use the column manager in order to say what custom fields do you want to show in this multi-column view. So this multi-column view is limited to 5 segments. So I can only show who's speaking and the context information that we set up. So now you see that the translator has all the information available, and for the translator can just work. And I will just quickly machine translate this text with DeepL. And as you can see, you will get a warning whenever you exceed the character limit. So let's just say her name is not Jamie but Juan. So you see whenever the character limitation is adhered to, like you don't have a warning here. Then you can also yeah, just decide what you want to do. And basically, like someone was sick, he's male, we know that from the contact information, so is otro invitado and not invitada. And so we can make sure that our translator has all the context and will also adhere to it. So, and whenever we have all the translations done and also adhere to all the requirements, then we're good to go. But maybe during the whole process, like some translator finds mistakes, for instance. So let's say a translator realizes, okay, no one is not written like this, but actually like that, and he wants to let someone know. So you can just use the custom fields as well to leave an information. Found and corrected typo and source, for instance, or one could say, okay, I have the scene in mind, the actual scene, and this is actually not Nadine speaking, but Ralph, and Ralph is male and 28. So just to let everyone know that there's a mistake, they leave a comment in the custom field. So right now we changed like some texts, and we will now. Oh, I realized that I might have forgotten to tick an option here. Actually, I wanted to save the custom fields back to the finalized Excel document, but this is not possible right now because I didn't tick the button. So if you tick this option, then all the changes I made to the custom fields will be transferred back to the Excel file. But as I didn't do it, I think it won't do it now. So let me just finalize the file real quick. So as you can see here, because I didn't take the right options, like this is not changed, but I can show it a little bit later on. But we see that the typo has been corrected here, like no one is not written together but apart now. And we have all the character limitations adhered to. This is especially useful because this is done during the actual linguistic QA and not in different file formats from different project managers. Like here we can really see that everything has been adhered to from the get-go. So also when we want to update certain dialogues, like let's say we have a second dialogue where the last person is not like, oh, like horror movies, I'm afraid of horror movies, but actually is confirmative. We can also use the translations that have already been done and pre-translate from an earlier document version. So we can say translate yes, no. We use the filter we just built, the webinar live, and then pre-translate from an earlier document version. So dialog 1, which is the first file, will be our reference. And if we confirm, it will automatically do a pre-translation from everything it knows already. So now if we open the cat editor of the second file, we see that those parts have been pre-translated and the last ones haven't. Here, basically because we don't have a 100% match anymore because the source has been altered, but we can still copy over the text. And here we just have to retranslate or translate the new content into Spanish. So of course, we can also add the custom fields. Context information, yeah. So now to just demonstrate what I couldn't in the first run, changed source because of typo, and also changed the name here. Okay, then we save everything and just finalize the second file. And after the filter has been set up correctly, we can see here that the information from the translator has been transferred back to from the custom field into the Excel file, and also the changes have been made. And of course, this also would work for like 5 languages or 10 languages. There's really no limitations. Those custom fields are also really good when it comes to other contexts that you can give the translator. So for instance, you could include pictures and images to the custom fields. So for instance, if you don't want to only include the information that Jamie is male, you could drag and drop a picture of Jamie in here. So he knows that it's got wet feet and is sick. So it's basically the character can be searchable for the translator. You can also add other information, like whenever for game designers, it might be interesting to add the game environment to the translator, so they have it, so they see in context in what area they're currently translating, and maybe get a general idea about the game. Maybe also certain scenes that will be added in other ways, other applications. For instance, for technical applications, you could add technical diagrams for the translator so they can see what they're currently working on. So everything that's kind of that's not related to terminology, but still gives a context to the translator. Or even in the marketing field, where you can for the transcreation process already add like a picture of the end product and maybe say, okay, this is not culturally appropriate for your target culture, or the color combination doesn't work because it has a certain meaning in a certain language. And of course, it always gives context to see like how long can the text of the translator be in case you're not using the actual character limitations. Unfortunately, I have to admit that currently the import of those images is not possible. Like you cannot upload an Excel file with embedded pictures, and it will then be drawn into the custom field. But what you can do is add a custom field for links, and then basically just add a link to your picture. So whenever you have a knowledge base that your translator has access to, or a content management system with the corresponding pictures, diagrams, or whatever, you can put them in the custom field as a link, and it will then open a link to the to your platform, so the translator can also see that. And to set up this, you can simply put the link into an Excel file, and it will be automatically extracted. So in that way, you can, give all the context you need. So this is basically my small introduction. Also gave you some use cases. Just wanted to know if you have any questions. Maybe I was a little bit fast. You may now just give me your questions in the questions panel. Okay. If there are no questions, then that were my information I wanted to give you today. It was a smaller topic, but I hope it was insightful for you. If you want to know anything more about like the configuration of custom fields or how to use them in certain workflows, also how to build more complicated parsers for multilingual Excel files, then you're always welcome to write me a message, or in general, the Wordbee sales team. And I hope you have a good day.